Hey, Lou.
Betsy, what's
Whoa,
going on?
I got this a little too loud. Whoop, I muted you. There we go. Okay, not too bad. How you doing?
Not too bad. Friday.
That's the river. Thank God. Thank God. We survived another week. Barely, but we did.
Well, Liz Cheney didn't.
Well, actually, she's probably.
Well, she did. I shouldn't say that.
I'm pretty much convinced that.
She knows something.
Yeah, I'm pretty much convinced she is in a far better position than she was a week ago.
Short term, they're all saying no, but you're right.
Yeah, because now, I mean, her hands aren't tied anymore. She can pretty much go do what she wants and fundraise where she wants and she could be a serious pain in the ass now, right?
Oh,
She does.
I loved it on Discord. Who put that across? Yeah, Kevin McCarthy should be called to testify under oath now.
Yeah,
Subpoenaed.
yeah.
I'd like to see him, Devin Nunes, and then that other cast of characters all called.
Oh, I want to see that asshole Jordan. Um, uh, what's his name? Cruz. All of those assholes. Everybody who sat there and
Holly,
defended this bullshit. I want to
Holly.
see. I want to see them called and testified. Every last one of them. Because this isn't a Democrat Republican thing, right? This is not a political thing. You,
Well,
you
they'll
guys
make
are
it out to
traitors.
be, but it's not.
Those are just people that they're traitors. They really are. They're traitors, and they need to answer for what they've done. They do. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Marjorie Taylor Greene, Boebert. Who else did the tours around the Capitol a couple days before?
Those two were the big two. I don't know if there was another one or not.
There was another couple of them.
Was there really?
Yeah, there was.
Oh, they all need to they all need to be questioned. Just question. That's all. And if it ends up that we find something about them that they didn't like, or oh well, that's how it goes. And if they didn't, well, that's how it goes too. But yeah, they need it.
Hmm. Here's the question of the day: Is how the hell did this guy put it? Is Marjorie Taylor Greene mentally unwell or just an asshole?
Uh well,
Did you
she's an
see
asshole.
they dug up that other video of her from 2 years ago harassing AOC?
No.
I don't know who recorded it, but apparently she was with one of the Capitol insurrectionists. They got a beat on who she was with. She had about a 220 clip of her outside AOC's office basically harassing her.
And this was 2 years ago?
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Well, look at the MO. Okay? Look at the MO. Look at what she did to what's the kid's name? The
David
survived the
Hobbs.
shooting. Yeah. Right? The way she literally behaved the same exact way. Maybe the language was a little different. Maybe the intensity was whatever, but the behavior was exactly the same. That tells you she's not mentally unfit or mentally unstable. She knows what she's doing. Okay? She knows what she's doing. So dude, there's no place anywhere for people like her. Okay, there isn't. And problem is, I don't know what to do with her. What do you do with her? Okay, yeah, she's in the minority, but there's nothing really that the majority can do to individuals in the minority, right? You gonna throw her out? Well, the majority, Pelosi can't do that. No, not on her own.
It has to be 2/3, isn't it?
I want to say yes.
I believe it's 2/3.
Yeah, I want to say yes. Uh, she has McCarthy, that asshole, that chicken shit punk, who isn't going to go against anything that any of the Trumpers have to say. So he's not going to hold her accountable for shit unless, all of a sudden she, God puts his hand on her shoulder and she actually starts acting like, a grown ass adult human being. He's not going to do shit to her. So now, what are you going to do with her? You got nothing. You absolutely have nothing. There's nothing you can do with her. These are things that have to change. Okay, they do. Problem you have is whenever you have folks in a position to make that change, like that asshole Democrat in West Virginia, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it because they'd rather be reelected than do what's right. So we have what we have. I don't know what to tell you. This whole system needs fixed. And yeah, it needs changed. And people make that sound like a big deal, but Lou, we're living in a country that's not 300 years old yet. Compared to just about every other country in the world, we should have had a whole lot more bloodshed. We should have had a whole lot more rioting, a whole lot more wars, a whole lot more everything in our first 300 years than we've had now. I mean, just amongst ourselves, not with other countries. People are making it sound like, oh my God, it's a big deal. It's a big deal. We're not 300 years old. I'll tell you a good story. And I told you it before. I was in Arizona a number of years back for the 20th anniversary of one of the Aikido federations that I'm with. And I was sitting in the lobby of this hotel, and I'm there with two guys from Italy. Okay. Straight from Italy. And we're sitting in the lobby of this hotel, and the hotel had Fox News up on the TV. And these two guys are looking at me like, what the hell is that? Right? Because they never, that shit, even Sky News wasn't that big then. And the one guy looked at me and he goes, Patsy, I'm going to tell you something. The building that I bank in, where my bank is older than your country. That building is older than your country. So we might not do everything right, but we don't do everything wrong either. And it was, dude, you're preaching to the choir. And this was, God, 10, 12 years ago. It's gotten worse since then. Look how bad it's gotten in a decade, right? But that's how bad it was then. Or this guy's looking at me, it's like, that building that I go cash my check in is older than your country. What argument do you make? How do you defend that? How do you defend yourself against that? Like, yeah, I know, we got growing pains we have to go through. Our American exceptionalism rearing its ugly head. So we're lucky we haven't gone through a lot of the things that some of these countries have in our first 300 years. We're lucky. We have to deal with this Marjorie Taylor Greene asshole. by race. They should drag her out of the Congress. They should drag her out of the chamber by her hair and hang her. You know, that's what every other country. Can you imagine if this was happening in France during that fun time that they had? She'd have been executed on the steps. Just calling a spade a spade. My problem with AOC is she should have should have shown a little bit more grit, I think. Personally, I think she should have shown a little bit more. And she didn't. Because this asshole's just going to try to walk over her again. What do you do with a bully, Lou? Right?
What do you do with what?
With a bully.
You gotta right up to him.
Eventually you got to punch him in the nose.
Pretty much.
Yeah, because if you don't, they're just going to keep coming back. Right. She better punch her in the nose. One way or another.
You know what? And somebody handled a bully just that way today. What was the quote? What the heck was it? Eric Swalwell was a congressman. It was one of it's either Marjorie Greene's spokesperson or Boebert's. Here it is. I had a mask on as I stepped off the floor. An aide with MT Green yelled at me to take my mask off. No one should be bullied for wearing a mask, so I told the bully what I thought of his order. Predictably, he went speechless. I regret I wasn't more explicit. Well, I guess here's a... that was his statement, but here's the witness in the House. MTG spokesman Nick Dyer told Rep. Swalwell, Biden says you can take off your mask. Swalwell confronted Dyer, got in his face, and according to Dyer said, you don't tell me what to fucking do. That's how you handle a bully.
Yep, that's how you handle it. That's why you got to punch him in the nose.
Yeah, I guess he right in his face and left him. That's the way you do it. Right at him.
Yeah, that's what you do. AOC should have done the same thing. Right? She should have done the same thing.
Yep. Speaking of bullies, did you see this? I was just looking at this news. Did you see the indictment against Greenberg today?
I did not.
86 pages, 33 counts. So if he settled for that, pleading guilty, how much shit is Matt Gaetz in? I think this just hit an hour ago.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
88 pages worth of shit.
Yeah. 33 indictments, including sex trafficking of a child and wire fraud.
And this is what he's pleading to.
That's what he's pleading to. Okay, so if he's pleading to that, it says 33 count indictment. He will plead guilty to 6 federal charges. Sex trafficking of a child, producing false ID, aggravated identity theft, wire fraud, stalking, and conspiracy to commit an offense against the United States. So what would that offense be against the United States? Sex trafficking charge alone carries a mandatory minimum of 10 years and $250,000. 4 of the other 5 charges carry maxes ranging from 5 to 20.
So he pled with including a count of sex trafficking of a child.
And providing that child to other people is one of them.
Holy shit.
Okay, so do you think Matt Gaetz has skid marks in his drawers right now?
And prosecutors sent this coming from CNN and others whom Greenberg was in contact with. As part of his deal, Greenberg plans to admit in court that he introduced a child, quote, to other adult men who engaged in commercial sex acts with the minor in the Middle District of Florida, according to this document. He paid women more than $70,000 for sex over 2 years through December 2018. Yada 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 yada. Hotel meetings. Greenberg admitted to 6 charges. They carry a mandatory minimum sentence of 10 years in prison, like you said. Yet prosecutors in the plea deal said that if he helped them significantly, he may be able to get a sentence less than the minimum. He will also have to forfeit $650,000 obtained illegally and pay restitution to the victims, the plea agreement said. Yeah, Gaetz is shitting.
Yeah.
Gaetz is shitting right now. Yeah, I mean, if you get on CNN Politics, you can actually see. I mean, they have the indictment or the plea deal, the plea agreement. They actually have it. You're right. It's 86 pages long. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Lou, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Okay? I'm going to go out on a limb. He's not going to survive his time in prison. I don't care that it's 10, if it's less than 10 years. It could be 10 days. Unless he's totally isolated 23 hours a day, he's not going to survive 10 days, let alone 10 years. He wouldn't survive in county jail.
I wonder what prison they'll put him into.
Honestly, you really think it matters? Even white-collar criminals aren't going to put up with that shit.
No.
Wow. So, what's he going to do? When is he going to start fingering people? Right? Or did he already?
Greenberg.
Yeah.
Oh, I would think that he's already, if he's got the plea deal already, he's already named people.
You think?
Wouldn't you think?
I would think so. I mean, you're not gonna make a deal with somebody and then wait for him to start naming people, right? You're gonna do that shit first.
You say, give me names.
Give me names.
And let's see what we can work out.
I can't believe this thing is 86 pages long.
Don't you wish one of the other adult men might be Trump?
Yeah, I do. I'll be honest, I kind of do. He has to register as a sex offender now.
Sure.
Yeah, he's got to register under Megan's Law now. He's not going to be able to travel out of the state anymore.
You can't even travel. I knew somebody that had that restriction when they got out of jail. They were only allowed inside certain counties. And the only reason he got 2 extra counties is that's because of where his parents lived.
This guy is so fucked. He's so I mean, I'm just breezing through this real quick, right? You know what? This is going in our Discord group. Because you got to see this shit to believe it. Honestly. Folks have to see this to believe it. Guys, anybody watching, if you're not on our Discord channel, you really should.
Yeah, I just saw that it was breaking news. I'm like, okay, I didn't know if you had seen it or not.
My God. This guy's beyond fucked. And this is what he pleaded to.
Yeah. Yeah,
Let's
when
not
I saw
forget.
that's what he fled to, I'm like, oh my God, what else was there?
Well, let's think about it. This, excuse me, this obviously was best case scenario for the guy.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, his initials are on the bottom of every one of these 86 sheets. He had to initial every one of these. He was busy today. Uh Obviously, this is very generous from the prosecution. So let me ask the obvious question: what did he give up for this generosity? Right? What did he give up? Who did he give up for this generosity?
I'm thinking he gave up more than Matt Gates.
I would think he probably. I would think he probably gave up a little more than Matt Gates too.
'Cause it sounds like, from just the stuff we heard here and there was a lot of parties, a lot of trips back and forth. Does it say how far back it goes?
No. Well, I mean, it might. I was just going through it real quick.
When did Gates come into Congress? 16.
That sounds about right. That sounds about right. Look, we have a question in our chat. What do you think about the conflict in Israel?
You know what? I saw some stuff on that last night, and it was an interesting take, and I tend to, there's some truth in it. Was it on, what the hell was I watching or reading? That basically a lot of that was brought on by Netanyahu over the years. And you got to realize they equated it with, you got to realize there's a lot of Palestinians and Jews living together in the same neighborhood, Israelites, that have no issue with each other. This is basically right wing bullshit, the same as what we're looking at here, what happened in Poland, what's happening in Hungary, and this coming to a head. And it's like, who's to blame, who's doing what. They're blaming Hamas, and saying, well, it's just in defense. And how many kids have they killed already?
According to the New York Times, in a 28-second video, which was posted to Twitter this week by a spokesman for Netanyahu, Palestinian militants in the Gaza Strip appeared to launch rocket attacks at Israelis from densely populated civilian areas. At least that is what Netanyahu spokesman Ophir Gendelman said the video portrayed. But this tweet with footage, which was shared hundreds of times, was not from Gaza. It wasn't even from this week. It was from 2018. And it showed militants firing rockets not from Gaza, but from Syria or Libya. So there you go. There you go.
How much money do we give them a year?
Too much.
Is
At
it
the end of the
50
day, we give
billion?
them too much.
Is it 50 billion, or am I mistaken?
No, you're probably right. That's a nice round number. 50
Okay,
billion with
a
a
billion a
fucking
week.
B. With a B. So you're gonna ask what what do we think about the conflict in Israel? Look, if I don't have well, neither of us have a horse in the race either way. But whenever you're willing to do something like this, come on, man. It makes me very hard to trust you. Okay. Am I right, Lou? It makes it very hard for me to trust anything you tell me,
Pretty much. And
even
this
if you're
isn't
right.
even if this isn't the first time, and we don't, and you actually have to go out. I'm thinking the story I heard it through was through a European source, which makes me, think, well, they're maybe on neutral ground compared to the media here, you know.
Yeah, the only problem I have with that, a lot of the European media is just tabloid trash. You know, I mean, trust me, I follow soccer, European soccer. Trust me, it's trash.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like, and we don't hear a lot of what's going on sometimes.
no, no. So I really don't have a. I'm not willing to like commit myself to one side or the other on this whole thing. But whenever you're pulling up footage that's 4 years old, roughly 4 years old, from a conflict that wasn't even in your country, and saying this happened this week, dude, I question what you're doing, and more importantly, I question why you're doing it. What did they think they were going to accomplish? What was the purpose of tweeting something like that? People are dying, and you're throwing out these tweets. Why? My brain, my Newcastle brain, sits there and says, "That's a guilty conscience." You know, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's what my brain's. That's what happens in my head. Uh Look, I'm going to tell you a story. This morning I woke up. Well, last night I put my bag together, right, for my workout this morning. This morning I wake up, I get ready to go, I leave. I get down to the gym, and I'm getting ready to get in the bag, grab my stuff, and like for the last what, almost 2 years, got to make sure I grab my mask, put it on, right? And I wear, there's two masks I wear. One whenever I'm walking in and out, the other one, and then like a disposable one when I do my workout, because you're just sweating like a champ, and it just goes on to hell. It just deteriorates on to hell. And I didn't wear the mask, right? We, because we don't have to anymore, right? We shared the email that I got yesterday, and I left there and I went to Speedway gas station downtown to get a coffee before I went to work. And so I walked in the Speedway, and again, I'm not wearing a mask. And do you remember how you hear people even now, and for the longest time, everybody was saying, I can't wait to get back to normal. I can't wait to get back to normal. And so this morning was the first time I was able to, quote, go back to normal. And it felt so incredibly abnormal. It felt so odd now to not have to put that mask on. That I got to be honest, it was an odd feeling. Very, very odd feeling.
You know what? Where was I at today? I went and I ran out and spared time to a greenhouse over there in Poland, Boardman. And, greenhouse is pretty wide open. It's pretty big. Leonardo's, where it is on Southern Boulevard.
Yeah.
And you know what? I just out of habit put my mask on, but they still had a mask sign up.
Well, it's very possible they just didn't take it down yet. And don't forget what we're talking about. Our restrictions or whatever is for Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
So it may not. They may not. I don't know what DeWine's doing. I know he didn't he announce something about a lottery.
Yeah,
For
actually giving away money every week for um, 5 weeks to anybody getting to the new people get a chance to win. Somebody that's getting a vaccine signing up.
I thought he had something too that
To
if you had
encourage
the
people
vaccine
to
and
get it.
you were high school age or whatever, and you had the vaccine, you could get in for they'll pay your college tuition
Well,
to any
there's
state run school.
it's for adults and it's for young people for a chance. I believe it's a full ride to Ohio State
I thought it was any state run
or
school.
any state run.
Yeah. So Ohio State, Kent State, Youngstown State, yada yada yada. State, Cleveland State. You can go on and on down the line, right? Uh Look, I gotta be honest. If I'm 14, 15, 16 years old and I just hit that lottery, I'm not so sure I'm gonna care much about my grades at that point. you know, but what do you think of that? You think it's a good idea for them to dangle these carrots in front of people's under people's noses?
You know what? If it works, I mean, and I don't think he's one of the few Republican governors that didn't lift all the max mandates yet either.
Yeah, actually, I thought DeWine's actually been pretty good. There were a few times I thought he did a better job than Wolf, to be honest with you.
Yeah, because he was fighting his own legislature.
Yeah, yeah. There was a while there I thought he actually did a better job than ours did. And honestly, I'm you and I might be two of the few people, especially in Mayberry, who actually didn't think that Wolf did that bad of a job.
No, he didn't. He was battling idiots too.
Yeah, I mean he dropped the ball here and there, but don't forget the only time you're saying he dropped the ball is whenever you're looking back at something.
And you know what? When you say that too, there's you think about early on, they were going off of gut and not information a lot of times because they didn't have it.
Yeah, it wasn't available to them.
Right.
Yeah, so they had to basically do their best guess, right?
Yeah, they're making a call on what might be or not be.
So it's hard to fault. I'd much rather these guys err on the side of caution. I mean, yeah, I know it's this, that, and the other thing, but at the end of the day, it's nothing more than an inconvenience. That's all it is. It's a simple inconvenience. That's all. Uh, I don't know how I feel about what he's doing with those things. I mean, I like the fact that he's being proactive about it. I don't like the fact that he has to be. I think is the problem. Why is it so hard to get a goddamn vaccination?
Yeah.
And why is that so difficult? I deal with those knuckleheads all day. Where I work. Why is it so hard? You don't have to. You literally don't have to do anything but drive there. Just sit there. They'll stick the needle in your arm for you. You don't even have to do that. Go do it. Go get it done. You're going to save lives. And again, I go back to the same argument. If you assholes would have done what you were supposed to do, we'd have been out of this 6 months ago, maybe a year ago. Might have been 6 months ago. That's whenever the vaccine started rolling out. I still don't understand why that was so hard. Right? Oh, my rights. Don't you love how people are more than willing to sacrifice your health and your well-being for their rights?
Yeah.
I love that. That's the best ever. My rights, my rights, my rights. Oh yeah, you can die for my rights. I'm more than willing to do it. Go ahead, you can die. You're a hero. Fucking people piss me off. This week, jobless claims fell to a new pandemic low of 473,000. Right? What's this I hear about people not wanting to work?
It's just a bullshit talking point.
Right?
You want me to translate it for you?
Yep.
When businesses say I can't find people that want to work, it actually means I can't find any idiots willing to work for no pay, low pay, no benefits, and all kinds of hours for what I want. I don't want to pay the higher rate.
How do you expect somebody
What's the wait? What's the restaurant wage?
less
Two
than
eighty
a server? A
so
server?
285 plus tips.
Yeah, and then half the time they have to. Well, more than half the time they have to split the tips.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, think about it. Let's see. What's the server get if he or she gets a couple busy nights a week, makes some decent money in tips. There's no health care.
No.
There's no vacation. If you don't go
Nope.
to work, you don't get paid.
Nope.
Do they throw them in to wash dishes at the same low rate if they need somebody? You know, how come nobody ever bitches about like the CEO of McDonald's making $8,300 an hour?
Yeah, that's okay.
Do you realize Jeff Bezos makes in, what the hell is it? 10 seconds what one of his employees makes in a year?
Yeah. And
I
yet
don't hear anybody whining about that.
who gets motherfucked for wanting to join a union? Right?
Geez, we can't raise minimum. The prices will go up. You know, Patsy, I don't know about you. How much they gone up in the last 10 years since the wage was last raised?
A whole lot more than what minimum wage can
I don't
cover.
know. Is bread doubled? Vegetables have doubled. You know, and the government, and I don't care who it is, you can say equal on this one, is what do they base inflation on? Shit that gets more efficiently produced every year that hardly goes up in price. I
Right.
mean, you could buy a stove right now for about the same price you paid 10 years ago.
And it's far cheaper for them to make now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, they don't base it on vehicles.
No.
Gasoline in that time, I mean, you think about it, it was actually probably higher price 15 years ago when you take into account what money was worth.
Right.
Efficiency, vehicles are more efficient. Um, I saw a thing today, if wages kept up with productivity since 1970, the average hourly rate right now should be $33 an hour.
Hmm.
And that's pretty much including where the minimum wage shouldn't be that far below. Minimum wage actually should be about 21, 22,
I was going to say it was probably in the low 20s, I would think.
low 20s.
Yeah. Yeah. If. What's the biggest word in the English language? If. Right?
Yeah.
If.
Where's all that money? There's your tax cut to the top 1% in corporations.
Unbelievable. And yet, we're still going to look at the people who need it the most, and we're going to look at them, and they're the ones that we're going to damn and condemn.
Yeah, and you know what? Every person that's at Walmart that is eligible for welfare and SNAP is us subsidizing the Walton's horse farms or whatever the hell they're doing in their profits.
Yep. Yep. And yet, no one has a problem with that. Lou, 50% of unvaccinated, I'm sorry, 57% of unvaccinated adults said a $1,000 savings bond would persuade them to get the COVID-19 vaccine. 57% of unvaccinated adults who are employed said they'd get the vaccine if it were required to work in person as well. Ooh. So you have to go back to work, and you know what? We're going to give you $1,000 savings bond on top of that, which costs what, $50 or $500, right?
$500.
Yeah, $500 per person. But we're already throwing $300 at people.
Yeah,
Uh,
because
I got a couple questions about this. Do you think that, and we kind of touched on it earlier, do you think that things like this are a good idea? Do you think these incentives are a good idea? Uh, Practically, I think they are. Idealistically, I think they're not. But I still don't understand why people will not be willing to get the vaccine. So that's my issue there. Um,
misinformation, disinformation.
I call it willful stupidity.
Yeah, willful ignorance,
Yeah,
stupidity.
willful ignorance. Right. Uh, what do you think about employers? Now, it's one thing if you work remotely, right? Because you're not gonna. How often do you go in the office, Lou? Right? Not very often. Here and there. You go to the grocery store more than you go into the office, right? But if I go to the office every day, okay, I go every day. What do you think about employers requiring employees to show proof of vaccination if they're going to come back to work, if they're going to come back into the office? And if not, I'm sorry, I have to lay you off.
Well, I had to show it to get my kids into school.
Yeah. Think it's a good idea?
Yeah.
What
Why
about
wouldn't why wouldn't the employer want it?
Oh, that's a good question.
Isn't that going to help him on sick days and lost time?
Do you think an employer should give incentive to employees?
You know what? Go get it on my time. Just go get it.
Just go get it.
Yeah.
Oh, my son, who works retail, right? I have an engineering degree. I had to miss work to go get the vaccine. My son, who works retail, he's getting paid for to get the vaccine.
See, I think that's a good idea. You know what? Go get it. However long it takes, just come back.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's based on time. I don't think it's an hourly thing. I mean, if you can show your card that you've been vaccinated, first one, second one, they give you, I don't know, $50, whatever the hell it is, right?
Yeah. Why not?
Why not?
So,
You think there should be a punishment for those who don't?
yeah, you can't come to work.
Yeah. Can't come to work until you get that vaccine, brother. Can't do it. And if for whatever reason you have a health issue that maybe you can't get it, which I'm sure there are
There's
two
a
people in
few.
the country that can't, right? Have your doctor provide you with a letter that shows us that it would be in your best interest not to get one. If you can find a doctor that's willing to write that, I'll take it. Right?
But
When I got my second vaccine, I took a picture of my card because they fill it all out, right? And I emailed it to every boss that I have, and I got a few of them. Right? I sent it to everyone individually. So I don't know if you want this or require it or need it, but here it is. If you could care less, then just disregard. Right? Because I don't want anybody asking me, did you get it? Did you get the vaccine? Will you get the vaccine? Yada, yada, yada. It's like, here it is. I gave it to you. I want you to know I have it. And one of my jobs, I deal with the public, right? So I want my HR people to know, no, he's fine. He got the shot. He got both shots. He's immunized. I just feel better letting them know that. It's not like I was worried about losing my job over it or anything. I just thought it was a good idea that I let them know, hey, look, I'm clear. I'm good. Whatever you guys,
yeah.
whatever happens,
But all right, I got to bail.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. It's Friday. You know
Yep.
what? We're going to cut it early because it's just you and me. So we're cutting this thing early. All right, Lou, be careful. Be careful. I know you got to travel a little bit. So, take it easy. Be careful.
All right,
And, we'll pick it up next week.
sounds good.
All right. We'll see you. And everybody watching, thank you very much. We will be back next Wednesday. We were probably going to be talking about a schedule change. It's coming. We just have to iron out the details, but don't worry, we'll let you know. But until next week, next Wednesday, same bad time, same bad channel. We'll see you all then. Goodbye. Good luck and